best a man can get.
Hi, everyone. Good morning and welcome to First Things First. I'm Jenna Wolf. That is Bart Scott in for Chris
What up, man?
Carter today.
Carter.
Here, right,
How are you doing?
Is Nick Wright. Thanks so much for being with us.
Cool Matata. Good to see you.
Chris is taking a little holiday time, but we love having you here. We got a big Labor Day show for you today. Tom Brady and the Patriots are now poised to win Super Bowl #7. Speaking of Brady, Aaron Rodgers planning to play till he's 45, and the Zeke drama in Dallas, which appeared to be winding down, is apparently ramping up. That's where we start this morning. Rumors and reports were out there that the Cowboys were close to wrapping up contract talks with Ezekiel Elliott, but Yahoo's Charles Robinson is reporting quite the opposite, that the team is, quote, frustrated with the latest exchange with Zeke's camp. So with week 1 now just 6 days away with the Cowboys set to face the Giants, back to the drawing board we go. Nick, I'll start with you. Who needs a deal more in this scenario, Ezekiel Elliott or the Dallas Cowboys?
To me, this one's very easy. The Dallas Cowboys need the deal more because Zeke's going to get paid. Like the idea that Zeke, well, if you don't take this deal, you're never getting a deal. For Zeke, it's the difference between maybe $1 million a year, maybe a total of $3 or $4 million guaranteed, which is an enormous amount of money, but he's either going to have an enormous amount of money or an enormous amount of money and a little bit extra. For the Cowboys, the timing of it could be the difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs, between winning the division and not winning the division. I understand everyone's looking at the Giants game in week 1 as a godsend for them, given the fact that Zeke could miss time. But the flip side to that is if your week 1 game is a game everyone has circled on your schedule as a win and you blow it, and it's a divisional game, and people say, oh, well, they're not going to be in a tiebreaker with the Giants. No. But they might be in a tiebreaker with Philly. And what's the first tiebreaker after head-to-head? Divisional record. So for a lot of reasons, I look at Giants-Washington to me in the first 2 weeks as the reason why it's more critical for Dallas, because you can't afford to not go 2-0 those first 2 weeks, not when you have New Orleans and Green Bay in weeks 4 and 5. So because I don't look at this as a situation like Melvin Gordon's dealing with, Bart, where it's like, if you don't take this deal right now, you're never getting it. I think it is far more critical for the Cowboys than for Zeke that this gets done very quickly.
It is. I think it's more important for the Cowboys to make sure that they can lock Zeke up. Zeke can sit back because the first game is an indication about who's going to have the most leverage. Because if the Cowboys win, see, we can win without you. We're good enough to win without you. We have the supporting cast. If you lose the first game, much like they had with the negotiations with Emmitt Smith, then now the leverage goes to Ezekiel Elliott. We have to get you in here because the difference is...
Just the first game, you think the leverage changes if they just lose
exactly,
the first
game, because you know in week 3 and week 4, like Nick alluded to, that the opponents that they have are going to be tough sledding, whether you have Ezekiel Elliott or not. And we don't even know what kind of game shape he's in, so he's going to be on a type of a pitch count anyway, no matter if he comes back or not, because he has to get his pads set, he has to get used to being sore from hitting shape, and then getting back to recovering. And you look at probably what they're fighting over, and, you know, I can use Le'Veon Bell as an example. It's really the guaranteed money, but it's the offset. And inside of contracts, it's really sneaky language. You have skill deprivation and you have injury guarantees. And those are very important things, because if you have skill deprivation, that means if you maybe rush for 1,000, 1,200 yards this year and you rush for 1,000 after that, they can say, well, you're losing a step and we can take money away, we can cut your contract. So it's very, important language that Zeke's going to have to fight for to get those guaranteed dollars within the first 3 years of the deal.
One other part for Zeke that matters for all players, but I think particularly more so for Ezekiel Elliott when we're talking about the language of the contract. Do guarantees void if you get suspended?
Right.
Because that's something that if I'm Dallas, I would be more willing to make him the highest paid running back in the league as long as I know that if he gets suspended, even if it's just not a full season, obviously, even if it's just a couple games, like he could have been suspended for the incident this summer, that then makes the contract year to year. And I'm sure Zeke's representation, while they wouldn't say this publicly, they know Zeke and they know that it's on the board that he gets in trouble again, and therefore they're fighting against that. Because I thought the Charles Robinson tweeted 15 hours ago, 18 hours ago, I am reporting they are getting close. And then tweeted about 9 hours ago, I am reporting the Cowboys, not Zeke, the Cowboys are disappointed with the direction it has gone, which makes, well, you know, you can read the tea leaves there and believe that what the Cowboys thought they had made an offer that was good enough to basically close the deal, and for some reason Zeke and his people pulled back. I'm not signing anything with any behavior or things in them, because what happens is, as a public figure, you're a target. So that's a slippery slope, because that can be anything.
Right.
That can mean that, okay, you get into an argument, somebody press charges or whatever, and you're found not guilty but not innocent, and they can take that away. Like the whole thing with them being, you know, with the security guard. Right, so I don't want anything of that. Give me my money, and we'll handle it accordingly. If that's the case, you can handle taking money back from me with team fines or what do they call it? Behavior detrimental to the team. You can put that in there, but no written language where I'm going to void guaranteed monies out of my contract.
Okay, so we're a week out. We're 6 days out. When would Ezekiel Elliott have to sign that contract if we're going to see him play in that first game against the Giants?
Well, we like to think of before Wednesday, right? Because Wednesday is the first install day. Because it's the first week, the guys are being Monday, Tuesday, but those are just kind of running around getting your body set. You don't really go to group install until Wednesday. Thursday's a physical day, probably the only contact day of the week. Fast Fridays is where you come and you put everything together. Saturday's a travel day. If you're not, you know, if you're a home team, you're going to stay at the team hotel. And Sunday's game day. So it would have to be at least Wednesday, because Wednesday's an important day as far as the install. Yeah, Chris said by Tuesday night, Bart's saying something similar, that you need to be in the building Wednesday for the install. And so if you would have asked me this, I'm glad we didn't do a show this weekend, because if we did it Sunday morning, I'd have said...
show 15 hours ago.
Right, it looks like this thing's going to be done, and by Sunday night, it looked more like he could miss week 1. I'm going to say 2 other names of people who are, I'm sure, even though the pie's only so big and it's zero-sum game in this regard, rooting for this to get done. Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper. Yeah. They don't have contracts yet either. One of those guys might be franchise tag next year, but both of them can't be. And if Zeke's not there, and all of a sudden the offense looks awful, all of a sudden they start off 0-1 against the Giants. They're 1-2 with their first 3 games being Giants, Washington, Miami, a Miami team that appears to be the worst in the league. Then all of a sudden, the Cowboys, who seem to, for the first time in a while over the last few years, really be trying to be cap conscious, might look at it and say, hold on a second. If Dak or Amari is only excellent with Zeke, how long do we think Zeke's going to be excellent? How good are these guys really? I know you're skeptical of Dak's ability as a franchise quarterback. Whatever you think of Dak Prescott, he is calling Jerry on one phone and Zeke on the other, saying, guys, you want me to mediate? Is there a way I can come to
but if I'm
this gap?
But if I'm Dak, it's opportunity.
Yeah.
And if you're a quarterback and you bet on yourself, if you're successful without Ezekiel Elliott, then now your price just went up.
Of course. No, it's an opportunity, but it's an opportunity with some risk involved.
And it's a big if you're successful without Zeke. All right, if you had to make a prediction, does Zeke play in week 1?
No, I think he comes back week 2.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think you've got to say that Zeke's going to miss week 1. Again, 15 hours ago, totally different opinion.
And it's because the opponent. It's the opponent, right? They feel like they should be able to beat the New York Football Giants.
And then they have Washington after that.
Right.
Exactly. All right, let's take a break. We'll talk a lot more about this coming up. But on the other side, will Tom Brady hoist his 7th Lombardi Trophy this season? That is next on FS1. Always check us out on the Fox Sports channel on Sirius XM. Bart Scott, we're in this. We'll be right back.
Let's do it. First segment, brother. Love that double-breasted